And, mm,
Hello, good morning, everybody. So this is Vijeta Bhatia from AUPP Delhi office. Today, we are running a different kind of a program for you, for all of our students and all staff members. And of course, if some of your friends have not joined, please tell them to join fast because this is going to be a really interesting session. Today, I'm going to introduce to you one of our, you can say, a very dedicated person behind the success of our team. You very well know, I think most of you know, Ms. Shikha Handoo. She has been working dedicatedly to make sure that our students and staff get the required kind of support at the centers. But besides all the other stuff we do, today we're going to talk about something more personal.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the new talk show that we have started, Humans of AUPP. And it's a privilege that I have been selected as the first person for the talk show. Thank you so much. And it's really I'm feeling really amazing. And yes, you can relate it to something which is called IELTS speaking. Okay, not just joking. So, uh, welcome to the show.
So, Shikha, so I think I'm so curious about your journey, your career, and that actually took us to make us, involve everybody here to go deeply into the journey behind your becoming Shikha Handoo. So, starting with your early school days, can you share some experience of your school days where you have I would like to know something in English. You did something really funny and something really great.
Right. So, just like you said, that you're really curious about the journey that I have lived actually, and I rejoice it every time I think of it. It is actually a really funny journey, and now when I look in the past, I can actually relate it with how things have fall into their own places, so that I can be there. I can be the IELTS trainer. So I started my schooling. I'm born and brought up in Delhi. So I started my schooling from the northwest side of Delhi. We Since I was born, I am living in that area. So it's the Rohini area, which is northwest Delhi. So I changed approximately three schools because we kept on relocating after every 6 to 7 years. And
That must have been interesting.
yeah, every time I used to get new friends, and it was I always like to make friends. As I think the people who know me personally, they know that I am a very extrovert person. I cannot just be into myself. I need my time as well, but I'm an extrovert person. So I love talking to people, talking to different people, having different backgrounds. So it was actually very interesting for me. So and so if relating that to the English, just you said, once my friend was about to take, was about to participate in a debate context, and it was regarding some globalization. I do not remember the question exactly because I think I was in fourth or fifth class.
Oh,
So that was a very big, this
yeah,
term.
it is big.
Yeah,
In fourth, it's your
exactly. It was a big term for us. So suddenly, I don't know what happened. She backed off, and it was it was like, and then the teacher said, "Okay, you are backing off, so your friend is going to get the punishment for it." And I was like, she did everything. Why am I getting the punishment? And but I took it as a challenge, and I actually took, I actually participated in that. I was really bad at English. That was the point when I realized that I really need this language to be incorporated into myself, because I have studied in Saint Angel School, which was somewhere, not exactly, but they actually, it was a convent school sort of thing. Yeah. So they wanted every student of the school that please talk in English. You have
Yeah.
to
I
communicate.
remember we used to have a fine on talking on any other language
Yes,
except
similar,
English.
similar was the case.
We had some monitors who used to monitor that if any student is even talking in
Exactly, and that monitor was a monster. Let me tell you this thing.
yeah.
So what happened was realizing this thing in just fourth and fifth class. I think in our time it was just a convent school that used to be the reason behind it. So at that point of time, I started getting the training from my parents that I clearly told them, please speak to me in English.
At home.
Yes, at home, because charity begins at home, right?
I think you got
So
serious about it a lot at a
yeah,
very
because
early stage.
because there were hundreds of students right in front of me, and I don't know what debate I was going around in that on the stage. Right, so it was really frightening, and it was really embarrassing at the same time. So learning English, I think, is not that difficult, but it's not that easy. So what makes it easy is using it.
So you agree that learning English is not easy.
Yes, but in the earlier stages. If you
Mhm.
have been learning anything in this particular language, it will be easy for you, because
Mhm.
you are very familiar with many words and many sentence formations already. So this was the basically early childhood where I actually realized that this language is really important, as well as it's really interesting. When I came into the college, there were many people coming from different schoolings,
Yeah.
different schools, and there were many, like, college, and that too. I have completed my graduation from Delhi University, and Delhi University has a diverse culture in terms of students. You get a lot of people from different parts of India, and I used to have one friend in the first year, and she was South Indian, and she used to speak so good in English, and I was like,
Really,
I
better than
know,
you. I mean,
yeah, I was actually very surprised that, wow, she's speaking so good. Why can't I? That was the point when I actually gave test in British Council,
okay.
and yeah,
So I think how I can relate that at the stage when you were first year in college, you got this I mean thing in your mind that you have to be good at it,
yes, yes,
and going to British Council at that stage is a, according to a career, is a very good initial stage, you know.
exactly. And I frankly speaking, I just went there to check the level that I have. So I went there, I gave the examination. They took some tests for the language, and to my surprise, I was intermediate language. So I thought that I would be somewhere at the basic level, but I was at the intermediate language. So then a language counselor there told me that it's not that you do not know the language, it's that you do not use it regularly. So
Mm.
meanwhile, with 10th, 11th, and 12th, I somehow disconnected from the language because the academics are really important. But then again in the college, my clock actually ticked, the language clock actually ticked, and the counselor told me that more you will speak, more you'll be fluent in it, and more you'll be comfortable with it.
Mhm.
So I thought that I'll hardly get any time, to get into this, because the college has just started. I have to score good because I have to go for the further studies as well. So I actually joined the course, advanced level course, in my first year of college in British Council itself.
Okay. So
So
you
it
were
was,
doing college plus you were doing the
yes,
course.
I actually did it. The passion of learning English was so, it was so lively in me that I wanted to learn it desperately. So I joined it after the college. I used to run to British Council and then attend the classes, which was of 2 hours, and 2 hours continuously. We had to, converse with every batchmate. They made sure that every batchmate, you are talking to everyone regularly,
Oh.
because if you are exposed to different orators, your language learning, your knowledge of language, definitely it expands.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this was all the journey, and then the British Council came into the first year itself, and then it's still with me.
Wow. And like as going into the you can say profession of academics and training, how did you reach there? I mean, into becoming an IELTS trainer, you know? I mean, how did this came in?
This is again a very interesting part of my life, that how I got into the IELTS training. So after completing my graduation, I actually thought of going abroad for my higher studies, and that is where the IELTS
That's
came in.
everybody's dream, I think.
Yes, yes, especially in the urban areas. And now I am really happy to see the people from different far places as well. They want to go abroad for their higher studies. It's a really good idea. So I thought of just trying my luck into this, and that's how IELTS came in. And I started preparing for IELTS, and it was in 2013.
Okay.
While preparing for it, my trainer used to teach me grammar at the same time. So she wanted to make sure that the foundation of the IELTS training, which is grammar, the English grammar, is strong enough so that I can score well. So
So, as I can relate that the British Council course was separate, and you prepared for IELTS separately.
yeah, I prepared because frankly speaking, the fees that British Council charged at that point of time was just too much. So I actually went to, again, as I tell my students, I went to a trainer who was British Council trained trainer. So I was getting the same quality in very lesser price,
Mhm.
right? So this was the ideology after joining those classes. So she actually tried concreting the foundation of English grammar. And when I was learning every second day a new topic, I actually thought this English grammar is really vast. There is no end to it. Every time you have a different sort of sentence, and every time you have a different exception with it. So
Oh
this
my
is how, yeah, this is how the English grammar actually attracted me. That how learning language can be so much deep. Then again, I knocked the doors of British Council and I told them that this is the thing. So they gave me actually a few courses, teaching courses, that if you really want to learn this, you can be a teacher. I was not sure about it, frankly speaking. So meanwhile, I gave my IELTS and I scored really well. I scored 7.5 overall as a student. I just completed my graduation. So then one day,
that was your first attempt of IELTS.
yes, that was my first attempt of IELTS. So I was not expecting the score myself. So, but I somehow got it. So then at the same time, my tutor called me up, the tutor who trained for IELTS. So she called me up and she told me, can you please share your success story? So there were many questions regarding reading, listening, speaking, writing, like the same I get in the sessions that we take. So I tried to tell them a lot of things. And my tutor was constantly looking at me. And after the that sharing part, she told me, you should be a teacher. And I was like, what made you think that you should be a teacher? I think I lack the major point of being a teacher. That was patience. I think I don't have any patience for this. But she said, the way you communicate what you have learned is incredible. And that is where a teacher comes in. So I think you should actually uh, do something so that you can be a language trainer. You'll actually make a good language trainer. And this is how I have come into. Then I went to British Council. They gave me CELTA. I did my CELTA. I prepared a lot for CELTA, and CELTA was really intense course. And for that particular time of CELTA, I don't remember I slept for more than 4 hours a day. That was the hard work that was required for learning how to basically train your students to get the idea of a second language, which is English. Interesting.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have words now. So, tell me something about your family.
Okay, we are a family of four now. Talking about my father's thing, that father's family. It's my father, my mother, and we are two sisters. But now I'm married, so my family has, practically changed. So it's now my mother-in-law, my husband, and me. So we three people. My mother-in-law is a housewife, and she, after one in 2018 when I got married, she was really excited to welcome me. And you know what? After 2 months, when I got to know that she was more excited to learn a language from me because her daughter-in-law knows a language which is really in trend, and I was like, really, you are more excited about English rather than getting your own daughter-in-law? Okay, that was a really funny and a very interesting part. And yeah, my husband is a businessman. He's a photographer.
Okay.
And my father's side, my father and my mother, they both were government servants, and they have done their graduation. My sister is a CA. So yes, the whole family is very
So
much.
anybody in your family inspired you for becoming a teacher, or there was some pressure from their side that you should be academically high?
Good
Or
question, but
something
there
like
was no pressure. In fact, my grandfather was a principal himself. So I think those genes were, those genes were really dominant in me rather than in any other family member. So my father, he uses this incident that there are the genes of my father which has come into you as a dominant gene. Okay, fine. So I think there was somewhere the inspiration was there, but no pressure was there. Yeah.
that's good. Generally, I've seen that parents these days, they have a inclination that their kids should be academically high, no matter what stream it is, and of course, engineering and all. Besides that, they always
Yeah.
want that he should get 10 on 10, be it arts or anything.
But
There's
basically,
some
I
good
think
pressure.
you have put a very good point. But what is the reason behind this is somewhere students lack to make them trust in them. So if a parent is seeing that their children are or their child is not, they are not trying to get the good marks. If they see that they are trying, not getting, that's fine. Those parents will never put pressure. But when you will not make them trust in you, that you can actually score good, that's where the pressure comes. I think every parent wants good for their children. That's
So
nothing.
you
Yeah.
think it's good to put pressure on kids, yeah?
To some extent, being diplomatically correct, to some extent. Yeah.
Okay, no pampering of the kids, huh?
Totally depends on the kid, as I told you.
Okay, so after becoming a teacher, a trainer, an IELTS trainer, you must have met kids from different variety of, you can say, regions, and of course, but I can expect that I think every kid these days wants to go abroad. So some of your incident of some guy you really thought will never clear IELTS, but he's done that. So did you ever had such a, you can
So do
say,
you know that's the
I don't know, situation?
best part of being a trainer? You get a lot of students from entirely different backgrounds sitting in the same class, having different levels and preparing for the same level. So this was my first class basically. So I had a student from South India, very good in English, from Punjab. So fair level of English, but
I can
as per
understand
the
about
IELTS,
Punjabis.
but yeah, exactly. But as per the IELTS, he needed a lot of, a lot of practice. He knew almost everything, but it was not coming out of him. Then a girl, which was from Delhi, and she thought that she knew everything, but trust me, she didn't knew anything.
That's typical about that.
Yes, yes, that is actually typical about Delhiites. So, and 2 3 more people, and of having fair level of. So the guy from Punjab, he already thought that, okay, there are so many students who are much better than me. I'm not going to do anything here. Like my score will be very less, and it will be really embarrassing for me. So after 2 days, he stopped coming to the class.
Okay.
And it was my first batch. I had to put a lot of efforts because being a teacher, it was my test as well. So even now, I think whenever a student of mine is appearing for an exam, it's the test for me as well. So I called him up and I asked him that what happened. So he said, no, it's okay, I dropped the plan. So I think when I spoke to him, I said that it's not, this plan is not something you just make plan and then you just quit. So just come to my institute and I'll speak to you. So he came in and after too many questions, he come up to, ma'am, I'm sorry that I don't think that with these students I can score really good because I'm demotivated. So I told him that be there for 3 classes. If after 3 classes you think that you would not be able to, actually score good within these students, you can drop the classes. I'll not say anything to you. And what happened in those 3 classes, I designed tests in such a way that every student got what lackings are there. So the Delhiite, she knew that she uses SMS language a lot, and that's what the spelling mistakes are. And then the Punjab guy, he got to know that he actually can write really well an essay which was really tricky. So he can write. The South Indian guy got to know that essay writing is really difficult. So I think in my first batch, I somewhere it was really difficult for me, but at the same time really tricky for me to let students know what are their shortcomings, and they have to overcome that rather on polishing every day what they already knew. So this was and yes, the guy, and everybody scored their desired bands. My first batch was actually actually really amazing. They worked really hard, and even the guy, his name was Harpreet, I think, Hardeep or Harpreet. So he actually, in the first instance, when he thought that he cannot get any band and it would be really embarrassing for him and everything, he cannot learn anything, and when he got his desired results, you actually can't imagine the smile, the happiness that he has on his. And we all know that Punjab has this pressure, especially kid from Punjab, they have pressure in their mind that they have to go to abroad, either Canada or Australia. Wherever you go, you have to go, right? So this is how, the first student. And trust me, this is really, the it's really frightening when you have first batch right in front of you, and one student stands up and he says that I cannot score. So when the student himself say I cannot score, it's a very tedious job for the teacher to actually counsel them accordingly that yes, you can. It is not a rocket science. It's like you have to understand the pattern and you have to perform. That's it.
Okay. And how you can I mean recall this overall journey for a student? Let's say he's from any city. What stops a student from you have given a good example that sometimes students feel like that they can't do this
Yeah.
thing. But then what are the factors which these days students are somewhere feeling like lack of confidence or something like? Can you tell about the youth these days?
Over these 5 years of IELTS training now, I think I have met more than 200 students, more than that, and coming all from different, backgrounds and different regions of our country. So I think what stops them first thing is being unaware about what they lack. I think this is the one thing which really stops them. So there was one student in my class. He sorry, what was his problem is he was really good in English. Uh, if you meet him ever and you'll speak to him, you'll see that he speaks so well, and he actually scored 8 in speaking. But the previous score before joining my class, his previous score was 5 in reading and 8 in speaking. And I was like, this much gap? Really? So he just told me that, ma'am, reading is something I think I cannot do it. So again, I cannot do it came into the picture. So I just told him, okay, you just take 2 3 classes. Let me analyze what mistakes you do through the mock test that I will be giving you up here, and just perform the way you performed in your final examination. So what happened, he actually did it. So I tried to actually look while he was performing his test. Was he used to panic. He, after watching the reading question paper, he used to panic like anything. He used to just panic. Okay, this is the question, this is really difficult question, list of headings, oh my god, I do not know what to do. So panicking is the major thing that these days students, they don't realize that they are panicking. But due to panic, what they already know or the knowledge that they already have regarding a skill, they lose this thing at that point of time. So he was like, after 3 tests, he was like, ma'am, do you think that I can actually score well? I said, yes, you can. So meanwhile, when I started his training, I tried to give him different mock tests with different sort of question types. And I just told him, just be calm. And these are the list of techniques that you have to inculcate. And meanwhile, in the training, his calmness increased with every mock test. He actually incorporated every technique with every passing day. And trust me, he scored 7.5 in reading after 40 classes. And he would be flying after a week to Canada. He has got his offer letter. He has got his visa as well. He would be studying in Georgian College of Canada, which is one of the best in that area. So so basically, it's be aware that what do you need. And okay, you know that I need the tricks of reading. I have those tricks, but still I'm not getting. So it means that you are not inculcating those tricks into this. Similarly, there was one girl, she was an English teacher. She had to migrate to Canada. So she was there to get the training for IELTS General. Being an English teacher, she was like, I do not know how to write an essay.
Yeah, it's different. I also have seen that
Yes.
even MA English honors people, when they sit for IELTS, they face problems.
Because what happens, IELTS is all about communication. But your English honors is more of literature, where Shakespeare and other novels and everything comes in. So I actually made her look essay. I just told her, do not think that these are 250 words. Just think that you have to take one idea, you have to write 50 words on it. And trust me, she still is in touch with me, and she says, ma'am, today when I teach my students that how to write an essay, they say the same thing with what I had told you, is now I'll never forget how to write. So everything is available in the market, each and everything. It is basically how your trainer conveys what you have to do, and it is the performer who has to actually understand that these are the things which I have to put in actually and practically to get the score. So when I say during the sessions to my students that, see, if you have to do the list of headings, there's a question type in reading. If you have to do list of headings, you actually have to read the first two and the last two lines. So I have seen myself, many students, they, for the first three paragraphs, they do what they have done. After it, they lose their patience and they just do whatever they want. So they just read the first line, okay, they match the headings, and then it's all wrong. So it is the calmness and the tricks that you have to combine for an IELTS exam to get your desired bands or to get the result that you want. So I think this is really important for students to understand this thing.
Okay, so we do have got some questions here. How I correct my spelling in essay writing. I do many mistakes in spellings. This is by Heli. Heli Ben, I think she's from Ghatlodia. Yes? No, she's from Ghatlodia. Yeah.
Okay. So, Heli, I think, see, to every student, this I have been telling them from the very first session that these are two skills, productive and this receptive. So, before producing something, you have to receive. You have to receive some raw material to give some results. So, first of all, read. Try to read as much as you can, so that you can get the exposure to different kinds of words, right? So after that, try to write a dictation sort of thing, which will be somewhere from the IELTS itself. I would say that you have, after clearing IELTS, meanwhile your process will be going on, you'll have enough time to actually, you know, improve your English. But what you have to do right now is improve your English in regards with IELTS. So you do not have that much time. You know, you can just go ahead with improving your English, and then later on you can do your IELTS. IELTS is your first step. Without IELTS, I don't think your visa process will be started. In fact, the admission process can neither be started. So try to read first, then try to rewrite the words which you think. Try to get the phonemics. So spelling, spell, pel. So try to use the phonemes so that you can come up with at least the closest spelling to the closest correct spelling. So, but again, the practice is the only thing, Heli. I would suggest that do not use SMS language other than IELTS preparation. If you're using this language anywhere, even if you're messaging your friends, stop using SMS language. That is the prior, that's the primary reason behind, people making a lot of mistakes these days. And again, no realization is there because it's unintentional.
I think I have personally observed that the autocorrect helps you a lot. And
but then autocorrect doesn't let you learn. Autocorrect is also good,
Yeah.
a good thing to.
and it should be turned off, in fact.
Yes, please. And in fact, if you're doing anything on the computer, do not use Word. If you use Microsoft Word, what happens if you are writing incorrect spelling and you give a space, it corrects automatically. If you want to write anything, any article, any essay, or anything related to anything, try using the notepad which is there in the computers. Try to use them and write in that. And then you can copy paste it in the Word. It will not correct automatically because then it will ask you what exactly do you want the spelling to be. So that can give you a good practice for the spelling thing.
I would like to encourage more of the students to ask some more interesting questions here. So there's a question: do you think students from metro cities score much better than those from smaller cities? So this is a question from Mr. Anil.
It's really it's a really good question. Why is it a good question? Because this is a myth in students that okay, a person from Mumbai, oh, he can score really well. A person from any metro cities, oh, they know he has studied in Delhi, he must have scored good. No, that's not the point. It's a myth. Please break this myth right here. Anybody coming from any region, they can score good. There was one of my student in 2016, I think I have trained him, and he was from I think he was from Assam or somewhere from that area, and he used to think that ma'am, in our area the education is least preferred. We don't have much resources to learn and anything. So I just need six. I do not need beyond this. So just help me with getting the six bands, and that is what I require. So first of all, I told him, stop thinking that you are from a background where you cannot you cannot score good. It is nothing like that. Just be yourself in terms of language. Just speak what you know, and just go ahead. Whatever I'll ask you or whatever the question asks you, just go ahead with that. So he meanwhile practiced, and he himself didn't know that he knows so much about the language. And he was like, ma'am, in the mock test, he used to score 32, 30 out of 40 in reading, which is somewhere around band 7 or 7.5. So in the very, I think, third or fourth mock test, he actually scored this much. And he was really happy. And, there are many students from Delhi itself who have not scored more than 6. So it is nothing like we call it from a metro city. A person from a metro city can definitely score better. It is nothing. It's your comfort with the language, and it's your knowledge of the language which can actually help you score well. One more thing which I would like to add on, even in the terms of IELTS assessment, it is the scoring is entirely individual based. It is nothing that okay, one student has come, he spoke really well, he actually gave all the examples, okay, let's give him 8. And then the next student comes in, and the examiner says, oh my god, he should not get 8, in fact this student should get 8. No, it is nothing like that. It is the individual the individual scoring that you get. So always try to improve yourself rather than looking at the other people, how much they can score, right? And I think, yes, I already answered that it's just a myth that the metro cities, the students from metro cities can actually score really well. They might need less practice than you, but it is not that a person from metro city can definitely score really well. No, People coming from Haryana, people coming from, in fact, what should I say, Himachal as well, where they don't have much resources to learn. They have scored more than the students of mine who were from Delhi, who were from Mumbai. So
People ask us to read newspaper and novels. Does it really help? I find it very boring.
yes,
I think this is common with me too.
It's common with everybody, trust
I was
me.
going through some of the content like when we were starting these sessions, and I saw that okay, it's good to listen to BBC for some time because it helps your listening and somewhere it adds to your vocabulary. I started it, and yes, some news was so boring. I can't read. I can't just turn the TV on to 10 minutes or more than that.
Happens. Basically, you know why it happens. The primary reason you find something boring is when it is not related to anything that you can actually relate to, right? So, first of all, if you're reading newspapers or novels, you need to understand why are you reading that. If there is no purpose behind it, trust me, everything in this world would be boring. So there was one of my student, he was from English honors, and he used to read a lot of novels and newspapers because I think that's in their syllabus. They have to read a lot of Shakespeare novels and everything. And he was really bad at IELTS. So as I told you, that IELTS is all about the communication, right? So he used to read all those just for the academic purpose. Then I made him understand that if you are reading something, you have to relate it to a purpose. If you're not relating it to a purpose, it's all in vain. Even academic, either academically or it is for your IELTS, it's all in vain. So what he actually did, he actually put all those academic novels just for the academic purpose. He read the editorial page of newspapers. He used to underline the words, and on those words, he used to make 3 sentences every day. Okay. Why sentences? Okay. To adding to this question, there are many students who come to me that we have a different glossary for we have 50 words. We write 50 words daily, which we do not know the meaning of, and I think my vocabulary is really increasing. It will not increase because the retention power will not uh, be activated until and unless you are actually relating that word to your daily course. So you actually, when you are learning different words, you have to give it a context to retain that word for the longer period, right? So he used to underline the words in the editorial, and that was just his self study. It was not in the IELTS practice, but he actually put a lot of efforts in it. His vocabulary actually increased a lot. So again, coming to the question reading, it helps, but only when you will relate it to a purpose. So there were many students of mine who used to read Chetan Bhagat. He uses really simple English, and that is what we really need in English. In IELTS. So there were many students who used to read it as a movie. They used to. There was a movie which was there of I don't remember the producer and director, but it was based on the two states, and the name of the movie was again Two States. Yes. Yeah. So that movie was based on that novel. So many of my students in that particular time, they already had seen the movie. So I asked them, just try to read the book and try to come into into the basically try to relate it with the movie, and just see how the sentence formations, how they actually attract you to read more.
Yeah, reading a novel in place of watching a Bollywood movie, they are two different experiences altogether.
Yes, yes. And meanwhile, there are people who say that we see TED Talks and we see a lot of BBC videos for improving our listening, especially. So again, just listening will not help you. If you are listening to a 30-minute video, try to summarize it either in writing or speaking the next 5 minutes. So that will definitely help you. That will give you a result that how much you have actually, retained in your mind, and how much would you be able to write it and basically express it. So this is really important. So to at the end, just to relate what you are doing. If you're receiving something, you have to relate it to something so that it can retain in your mind.
Okay. So, anything inspirational you want to tell? Of course, you've given a lot of inspiration in all your answers.
I just hope so.
But any one-liner message you can give to the students that will motivate them and
Actually, in the last session, I actually gave them a motivating line. So it was the line was, IELTS is not hard work; it's just smart work. If you are working hardly without any direction, you're going nowhere. But if you're smartly working just for 2 hours a day, it can give you surprising results. So just focus. And there was I was just having a word with the admission team the day before yesterday. So they all were really concerned about the IELTS of the students. And I would request everybody to please give at least one attempt till mid-January, so that I totally trust my students. I know that they will definitely get their scores in the first go. But just in case, and indeed, an intelligent student is one who always is ready for plan B. So your plan B would be reappearing. So they should have some time at least for reappearing if they don't get their desired scores. So it's my request to everybody, please get your scores, at least first scores in which you will be scoring. I am 100% sure in the mid January, so that you'll have a good time. And please keep practicing, and just happy learning.
thank you so much for this session. For
You're
this
most
interview.
welcome for actually sharing these very interesting things, which somehow when you are living those moments, you really don't know how important they are. But as you see in your past years, and you see that those students, not just those students who have actually scored well and they have got what they had desired for their future, but you as a teacher has already evolved a lot. And you, with different student, with every different student having different psychology for learning, you can actually make them come to a point where all the learners are practicing for IELTS and learning for IELTS, and they are actually scoring really good.
Thank you so much, Shikha. And I would like to add, after this session, we're gonna, add up more people from the local centers, some of our very, you can say, partners which have been with us since long. And we'll be roping up each one of you guys together to just, I just wanted to understand like how a person builds up, how a personality builds up, and it becomes an inspiration for students in every nook and corner of across India. So thank you so much for listening, and hope in the coming sessions you'll come up with more questions for our interview. And thank you so much.